welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got the return today of not a prolific setter, but a setter I really, really love, a Knickolas with a K, and a puzzle called Distant Neighbours. And I remember the first puzzle I did by Knickolas. I can even nearly remember some of the logic in it, and it must have been from 2 or 3 years ago, and that tells you what an amazing constructor he is, because that puzzle was completely original. I've read the rules to this one. This puzzle is completely original, and I've no doubt we're in for a treat, although I am slightly worried I won't be able to solve it. It doesn't seem to have had many solves at all on Logic Masters. It's unrated, and yeah, we'll just have to see how we get on. It's a loop drawing puzzle, where adjacent digits along the loop have to be non-consecutive. So it sounds great, and you can see there's some odds, evens, and is that parity or is that? Oh, that's prime. A p is a prime number. Anyway, I'll explain everything, and we can work through the rules together in a moment or two's time. What can I tell you about before that? Well, I'm going to release a bonus video on the channel 10 a.m. tomorrow, which is the blueprints continuation from the stream on Monday night that Mark and I were busy at when we encountered the book called The Curse of the Black Bridge, and that took a long time to read. So it's about a 2-hour 15-minute video in which I sort of complete the day. There is a sound hiccup in about the last 15 minutes. I don't want to spoil what's going on at that time, so I won't. But the sound just disappears. I don't know why. You can still see my mouth moving. So maybe if there's some brilliant lip readers out there, they could provide some official guidance as to what I was wibbling on about at the time. Anyway, that'll go live tomorrow morning. I'll try and I can't put a link on the screen, can I? Because the video's not live yet. Anyway, that's what will happen. I will just mention there was some fascinating podcast. I'll put a link to this in the video description, in which there was an interview with our friends at Sakana AI, which is a Japanese AI company working on things like reasoning for AI, which I found a fascinating subject, not least because of what I've learned about it in the context of Sudokus, where these modern AI tools that everyone really seems to love so much, they are terrible at solving variant Sudoku. Maybe I should be delighted about that, because hopefully it'll mean that people still want to watch these videos for a bit longer. But yeah, the AIs, even the very best ones, they can't solve these puzzles. They can interpret the rules of them. They can do that, but actually coming up with the human logical steps that we're required to find in order to solve the puzzles, it's really, really quite beyond all of these cutting-edge AIs still. And so what the computer tends to do is it resorts to guessing. So it'll say, can this cell be a 4? And then obviously if you throw enough computing power at that, in the end you might be able to rule a 4 in or out of this cell. But it's an incredibly unsatisfying way of approaching the problem. And the moment that you actually manage to create an AI that could look at a puzzle like this and really truly approach it in a human-like way, you're really going to be a long way down the road to sort of the general levels of intelligence that they hope one day might be possible, and those are the things that will cure all diseases and things like that. So it is a big game. I understand why it's important. It's just they're nowhere near it. Anyway, there's a podcast in which Leon, who is one of the guys responsible for the transformer part of the technology of ChatGPT, T stands for transformer. He was part of the original Google team that worked on that. He talks about Sudoku in this context. I found it really interesting, and some of you guys might enjoy listening to it too. Hopefully in due course, we created this benchmark of 100 puzzles that are sort of a test, like the ARC challenge, if you ever heard of that. which we hope will be fully engaged by the AI community at some point, and they'll actually devote time to trying and improve their models and how they solve these puzzles. I think we're years away. I do. I think we're years away, maybe decades away. But actually, it's one of those things that I hope I'm wrong about. Anyway, I found it a very interesting podcast, so I'll try and remember to put a link to it under the video in case any of you guys might be interested too. What else? What else can we talk about? Don't know. Should we do birthdays? Dominique, you've turned the big 40 today. And I know this because your cousin Andreas wrote to me. Actually you're over in Germany, aren't you? And I think you're an hour ahead of us, so your birthday might be tomorrow. You're having a wicked themed party. That's wicked as in the movie, I presume, rather than just a very cool party. And Dominic, I hope you have a great birthday, obviously, and I hope the chocolate cake is festively iced. And I hope the party is good as well. And then Nathan over there in West Virginia. You've turned 22 today. Nathan's is a story I struggle a bit to because I get a bit emotional every time I think about it. But Nathan is a cancer survivor who, if I remember rightly, I think you lost your father about this time last year, at the age of 22. It's absolutely shocking. But Nathan, I hope you have a great birthday today. Thank you so much for the remarkably kind words you've shared with us over the years. We obviously wish you all the best, and I hope that today's birthday is a good one. And that I don't know if you're a fan. You're not a massive fan of chocolate cake, if I remember rightly, but I think you seek it out on your birthday as sort of a tribute to Crane the Cryptic, which is remarkably good of you. And I hope if you do have the chocolate cake, it is exactly as you'd like it to be. And then the final little announcement is not a birthday, but it's just the remarkable power of the internet. Really, I had an email from Gabriel, who is a teacher / professor over there in Brazil, and he wrote to basically thank us for helping him to be a better teacher. And I think he had a student who needed help with an Olympiad question, and that had some sort of Sudoku profile to it, and he was able to help him because he's been watching the channel, and that, he's learnt the skills that you need. So I mean, Gabriel, thank you very much for taking the time to write to me, and for doing it, and for watching these videos in a, I know it's not your native language to watch these videos in English, and that you took the time to write to me, I really did appreciate. So Gabriel, thank you for doing that. With all that said and done, long introduction, lots of rambling from me, forgive me. Let's have a look at Distant Neighbours by Knickolas. The rules are as follows. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Cells separated by a white dot are consecutive. Right, so if that digit is a 3, this digit will either be 2 or 4 to be consecutive with 3. Then we have to draw a 1-cell wide loop that moves orthogonally through the centres of some cells. Adjacent digits along the loop are not consecutive, so let's just draw a loop. If that was the loop, we'll draw the Fistemafel ring as the loop, and if that digit was a 3, this digit would not allow it to be 2 or 4, and neither would this one. Numbers left of the grid indicate the number of cells on the loop in their row. So, I can't highlight them apparently, but this O here in this row is saying there's an odd number of cells on the loop in row 2. Because it comes on to say this in a moment. But let's read about the numbers above the grid. Numbers above the grid. Oh, there's an explosion outside. That's never a good thing, is it? Numbers above the grid indicate the sum of cells on the loop in their column. And O, E, and P represent odd, even, and prime numbers, respectively. So Okay. So I'm not really sure how to approach even explaining how this works. So in this column, there is 38 clue. So cells, out of those cells, which are obviously all the cells in the column, the digits on the loop cells in column 5 must sum to 38. The digits on the loop cells in column 6 must sum to 10. The digits on the loop in column 8 sum to an even number that we don't know. And then these clues, the ones outside the grid on the left-hand side, so in this row, there are 6 loop cells, is what we know. And that's all the rules. It's a really interesting rule set, isn't it? Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. So, how on earth do you start this puzzle? Is it this column? I mean, it might be this column, and the reason I think it might be this column is that the secret might be relevant. So, the secret of Sudoku, which is something I share with only my very favourite people, but if you're watching this, of course you're one of my favourite people. The secret of Sudoku is that all the digits in this column sum to 45. And I know that because of the rules of Sudoku. I know this column contains the digits 1 to 9 once each. And if you sum the numbers 1 to 9 once each, we get 45. So if every cell in this column was on the loop, this clue would be a 45. Now it's 42, which means almost everything in the column must be on the loop. It's possible that there's a 3 missing. So there could be 8 loop cells with a 3 off the loop, or there could be 7 loop cells with a 1 and a 2 off the loop. They are the only possibilities. So this column is basically chock-a-block full of loop. And this column, by contrast, is relatively unchock-a-blocked. What I mean by that is the maximum number of loop cells in this column is 3. Because obviously if we have 3 different Sudoku digits on the loop, they could just add to 6 if they were 1, 2 and 3. But if we had a 4th loop cell in this column, the triangular number for 4 is 10, and that would be too many. Oh, goodness me, how did I not see that? There's a 9 in row 3. Sorry, okay. So everything in this row is on the loop. Okay, so we need to have a colour for that, and the colour we shall choose is on the loop. We'll have lime green. That's my traditional on the loop colour. Now, okay, but what we don't know is, let's find a loop drawing tool. Well, in fact, we do know it's not going to be that, isn't it? So it can't be that, because there must be some loop cells in row 1. And once you go and collect those, you're going to close the loop. And that would mean there couldn't be any loop in the bottom part of the grid. So there's got to be some sort of passages or something like this going on. It's not, we don't know, just because we know everything is on the loop, we don't know it's a string across. I suppose one thing that does do as well is it confirms what I thought I'd understood from the instruction, which is that a 1 cell wide loop which moves orthogonally, it didn't include the qualifier we sometimes see, which says that the loop can't touch itself. So this loop absolutely could be that sort of shape, which in some puzzles that we do is ruled out because you can see this loop touches itself at a point here, and that is not in the instructions of this puzzle. And indeed, this 9 means that it must be true that the loop touches itself, because the only way it couldn't do, if there wasn't a requirement that said the loop can't touch itself, this would be a single string of digits, and we've just worked out that cannot be true. So so the 6th clue, this digit, Well, actually, I'm going to say slightly stronger than what I was initially going to say. I was going to say this digit can't be as high as 7, but actually it can't even be a 6, can it? Because if this was a 6, how would the loop, which definitely goes to this cell at some point, how would it get out of the first column or first two columns? Because it could never cross this boundary again. So that digit's actually not able to be any more than 5. I mean, this is terrible. This is terrible, terrible, terrible advances in our logical situation. I'm behaving like an AI. I'm doing nonsense. Come on, Simon. Hang on. As I was reading the instructions, I realised something. I don't think this is this is another AI point. The loop can't cross the white dots, because imagine the loop did. If that was the loop, we're told that the loop sequential cells on the loop are not consecutive, and yet the white dot is saying they are consecutive. So what we should do is that, and that, and that, and that. That is also a forced series of logical steps. Right. Okay. Right. Here is a better point. Here's a human point, I think. 4 odds add up to an even number. Yeah, okay. Now this is a better point, actually. And what I'm going to claim is that the prime number in row 8 is a 2. Now, I think that must be true. How on earth, you might say, how on earth are you saying that? Well, I'm going to allege it must be right. It must be checkerboarded, mustn't it? I think it must be checkerboarded. I'll have to prove this to myself. But my thinking went like this, that I think that whatever this loop looks like that we're going to draw, because it's an orthogonal loop, i.e. it's moving orthogonally from cell to cell, I think it must have an even length. And I'll explain why I think that in a moment. But if we take that on trust, if I'm right about that, if the loop is even in length, then the digits down the left-hand side of the grid should sum to an even number. Now, how are we going to achieve that? Odd plus odd is even. 9 is odd, so another 2 pair of odds. So far we're on an even total, taking into account odd, odd, 9, odd. Even is even, 6 is even, 4 is even. So to make this work, p has to be even, and there is only one even prime number. That feels like a Knickolas point, not an AI point. Definitely not an AI point. That feels like a Knickolas cleverness, doesn't it? Now, okay, but that's only valid if I'm right in asserting that. I think I am right. I know that's the most terrible way of describing it. Imagine that's a sort of start of the loop building exercise. Then however many steps you take that way on the loop, you're going to have to take the same number of steps to get back to this. However many steps you go east, you're going to have to take the same number of steps west to get the loop back here. And that's going to be sort of 2x, isn't it? And the same is true in any other direction. Or my initial thought was not that. That was just a thought I just had, which might be bogus. But the other way of thinking about this, surely, is to say that if we start in this position and we're drawing a loop, then imagine that the entire grid is checkerboarded. I.e., let's imagine that every cell, so all of these cells are all the same. Oops, all of these cells are all the same color. Yeah? And actually, let's do it. And let's make all these cells a different color. And we're starting here, I said, didn't I? So let's draw that in. Actually, let's make that a black cell so it's clear. This is where we start. You can see that as we make a move from this cell, we will always move to a blue cell. And when we make another move, we will then, and that will be, we've made one move, so we've moved an odd number of times. When we make the second move to get back to a red cell, we will have gone an even number of times. And that is true for every subsequent move. So if we want to return to this point, we must take an even number of steps because we need to get back to this colour. Yeah, that must be right. That does feel logical to me. If we only got to this square, we haven't sort of closed the loop. We must return to where we started in order to close the loop. Otherwise, we could have that pattern. That is not a loop. We must close the loop. So we do have to return to the same colour, and therefore I think hopefully that if my westward and eastward idea didn't convince you, that hopefully does convince you. So I think, well, this must be relevant, but I'm not sure exactly how. So if P is 2, so I think P is 2. This prime number is 2. But there is some loopage in row 9. So I think what this means is that the loop is going to travel to row 9 at some stage by a straight line path down a column that doesn't dilly-dally in row 8, because imagine it dilly-dallied on its way to getting down to row 9. It would then spend some time on vacation in row 9, and then it would try and get out, and it wouldn't be able to, because it's only allowed 2 cells in total in row 8. So I think what we're now learning is that there's some sort of U shape in the grid. It's going to look like that. But well, okay, I know one place it isn't. It's not there. so maybe it's this white dot that's actually crucial. Goodness knows what I meant to do here, actually. I don't have a clue. Oh, okay, there is some... Okay, there is another... Right, so what we have to do is work out, I think, where this big U shape goes. We're going to make one visit to row 9 only. So there's going to be a contiguous sequence of 4 cells along the bottom of the grid, because we quite clearly can't do anything like this. Whoops. Because we've then visited row 8 far too many times. We're only allowed 1 in and 1 out through row 8. So we have got this U shape. It might end up being here, actually. I quite like that from the perspective of the 12 and the 19 clue. You know, we get... In fact, that would be very useful. Because if it did do that, the 12 clue, look. Oh no, well, actually it doesn't do that. That's really good. This is good for us. The reason it doesn't do that, can you see why? It's really cool. Honestly, I know you never want to see me at a party. It's been said many times before, and I've spent many parties on my own in the corner. But I do see something here. If this U shape was this shape, how would the 12 clue work in column 1? And the answer, because these would all be green on the loop, so we've got 4 cells, but the point is this can't be the only cell. So however the loop has ended up in row 3, column 1, it must go there or there, mustn't it? It must do, because it doesn't end in this cell. And that's going to put at least 5 cells on the loop in column 1, and the triangular number for 5 is 15. It's more than 12. So this is wrong. So actually, well, this is a bit interesting. So you can't make that loop segment. So I am going to claim that this cell here is indisputably off the loop. And therefore this cell here is indisputably off the loop. Now, that is another possible loop, but that goes through the white dot, and that would cause a paradox, which is reflected in our Xing. So this cell is not on the loop, which means this cell is not on the loop. Now the other thing is, I don't think this one can be on the loop for sort of symmetrical reasons. That U is not possible. So this can't be on the loop. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sorry, it's easier, isn't it? Use the 6 column. That's much easier than using the 12 column. If this was the loop segment, we'd have 4 loop cells in column 3. And the triangle number for 4 is much bigger than 6. So this isn't on the loop, and this isn't on the loop. I mean, that can't be on the loop, I suppose, is the corollary of what we're saying, because if that's on the loop, that's on the loop. So we've only got, right, so there are only 2 ways now that the loop works. It's either this, I don't know, hang on, I'll try and show it with the colours, because if I draw a line over this, on my phone's going absolutely nuts. Oh, what is that about? Okay, I don't know, I'll have to check. Yeah, there's 2, but if I try and draw a line here and here, it's going to look weird. Even if I did it a different colour, it won't work. So what we'll do is we'll say the loop is either that or that. It's one of those 2 things. Now well, it'd be quite nice for it to use... Oh, I could nearly well, you can nearly say immediately that it can't be purple. Actually, I can say it can't be purple. Oh, this is beautiful logic. Oh my goodness. Right, it's not purple. It's not purple. It's subtle, actually, why it's not purple. Okay, I got excited about it, about purple, because I was looking at the 42 clue, and we know that most of this column is on the loop. But if purple is true, yeah, let's look at this. If purple is true, the loop never goes to this cell, because it's 2 cells that it's spending in row 8 are these 2. So it never goes here. And if it never goes here, it never goes here. And that's absolutely fine, because these could be the non-loop cells, the only non-loop cells in column 9. And if that was true, they would be a 1 and a 2. But now these 3 cells are all on the loop. They are sequential cells on the loop that have to add up to 13. Well, no, actually, it doesn't even work, does it? It's nowhere near, because these cells can't be consecutive. So what's the minimum they could be if they can't be 1 and 2? 3, 5, 7? I don't think they can be less than that, because they can't be 1 and 2. And then that one's even got to come in and be counted as well, but I suppose that could be a 1. But even so, even with just these 3, we're more than 13. We're on 15. So this is wrong. This is definitely not true. And therefore, we know that that is the loop. So this is the loop. We can draw that in. We now know these are definitely off the loop, which means these are definitely off the loop. And we're off to the races. We're off to the races. Oh, no, this is lovely. Oh, although... Well, okay, column 6 looks like it's done now. So I've got 4 loop cells, and obviously the minimum 4 different Sudoku digits can add up to is 10. I need to think about this. So all of these are off the loop. This is now a sort of loop segment. But how does this work then? Because yeah, I mean, this digit here looks like it's under tremendous pressure to me. If that was 2 or 3, let's just put that in. How would that work? It wouldn't, is the short answer, because these 2 digits need to be non-consecutive. Neither of those digits could be 1 or 3. And I can hide one of them away here, but I can't hide both of them. So, and that's the same with 3, isn't it? So this is 1 or 4. And that's jolly important for the following reason. So if this was 1, these would be a 3-4 pair. And this would be 2. So this one is 2 or 3, because if this is 4, you can't put 3 next to it. So that one is 2 or 3. And presumably we're meant to be able to know something now. And I don't know what that is. Oh dear. Oh, well. Hang on. 38 clues under a bit of pressure now. How does this... Because these two are... Oh, goodness, another explosion outside. How does this work? I'm just thinking, what's... I mean, we know these 2 cells are definitely... Yeah, this is where we look next, this column. Because one thing we could learn, or I didn't pencil mark it, but it's true, isn't it, from column 6, we've got a 1 and a 4 in these cells. So what I want to think about now is how many cells are off the loop in column 5. We know that we've got 2 down here that are definitely off the loop. And we know that all the cells off the loop in this column sum to 45, which would be if everything was on the loop, minus 38. So we know that all the cells off the loop in this column sum to 7. So these 2 might sum to 7, or there could be another that could be off the loop. And then these 3 would sum to 7. That cannot work. Because the only way of making 3 cells sum to 7 in Sudoku, if the digits are all different, they have to be the digits 1, 2, 4. And these 2 can't be 1 or 4. So it just doesn't work because of this pencil mark. So what that's telling us is that the whole of this column is on the loop. And now that is a corner of the loop. I love this puzzle. Now that is a green. This is a beautiful puzzle. Now here's another point. Which direction does this turn? Now, if it turned that way, how many loop ends have we got on the right hand side of the grid? And the answer is 1, 2, 3. How could we do that? We can't make a loop anymore. This is a principle of loops that probably is obvious to you all, but I will mention it because if you are new to loop building puzzles, you might not be familiar with this concept. But whenever you have a sort of a closed area in a loop puzzle that you can't get the loop out of, it must have an even number of loop ends in that closed area in order to be able to connect up the loop. So here, for example, we could decide to join this one to this one, but then that one can never get out. It's trapped. So that can't be right. So that loop's got to turn this way. Now, what that doesn't mean is that this cell's off the loop. Because this loop can touch itself, we could have a loop segment there. just, actually. That's only just possible because of the 13 clue. This column can't have more than 4 loop cells on it. Okay, and we know these. Oh, yeah, this is good. In the column, we now have worked out these two sum to 7, and they don't involve 1 or 4, so they have to be 2, 5. Yeah, no. What I was about to say is absolute rubbish, so I refuse to say it. Do I know what that is? I sort of feel like I ought to. If this is a 2, that has to be a 3. If this is a 5, this has to be a 6. But no, that's okay. This can't be 3. I'd have 2. Where would I? If this is 3, I'd have too many low digits. Yeah, sorry. The way to do this is once this is 2, 5, 2 comes out of these cells, and we get our first digit in the puzzle. That's got to be there. Now these digits are now. These digits are now 1, 3, 4. And we know that the 3 is going to be in one of these cells. So this has to be 1. It's going to keep the 3 and the 4 apart. This cell now can't be 2 because 1 and 3 have appeared in the box. And there would be no consecutive pairs. So that's 5, which must be next to 6, which must be next to 2. This is a 7, 8, 9 triple. That's very exciting, and we're going to use it for the following reason, or the following logic. That's not a 2 anymore. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to use it for the following logic, and that logic is... I have not got a clue. Okay. Let's think this through. Oh, can that cell be on the loop now? No, because that would be a corner and the loop would travel through the white dot, so that's definitely off the loop. Oh, bobbins. Okay, I don't know what to do now. Let's get rid of my loop end illustration in case that's proving to be important. I don't know. It feels like it might be to do with the 6. Is it to do with the 6 column? I mean, we know this is green. We also know we can't have very many green digits in this column. We can have a maximum of 3. But if we did have 3, they couldn't be separate because of the reason we've just been looking at over here. If there were 3 strands crossing column 3, let's say those 3, again, now we've got an odd number of loop ends in column 1 and 2 of the grid and no way to get them out. That cannot be right. So there are only 2 ways. There are 2 passageways traversing column 3 of the grid. Now, that's quite tricky actually. Because if it isn't, say, 1 here and 1 there, i.e. there's 2 cells in column 3, you could rinky-dink slightly like that, but that rinky-dinkage is under massive pressure. In fact, that wouldn't actually work. That wouldn't, bizarrely, that wouldn't work. but for a reason that's not going to be generalizable. Because we would know these 3 digits had to be a 1, 2, 3 triple, but we also know these two can't be consecutive, so they'd have to be 1 and 3, and that would have to be 2, and that wouldn't work on the white dots. That would have to be 1 and 3, but that's specific to this very unusual arrangement. But in theory, if there are 3 digits on the loop in column 3, the 1 and the 3 will be tied together. Oh, well, hang on then. Does that mean that's impossible? Oh, please let that be true, because that's... No, it's not impossible, because no, it nearly is. It is impossible for that to be true if this does a rinky-dink. But because that would have to be a 2. This would have to be a 1 or a 3, and the rinky-dink would be impossible because it would have to be a 1-3 pair. But the reason this is still possible, I think, is that, well, is that there could just be 2 cells, couldn't there, in the column adding up to 6. So if these were a 1-5 pair, or a 2-4 pair, that's probably okay. Bother. Alright, so... Okay. So what on earth do we do? Let me think. I've not got anything. I don't... 13 here could be 2 cells. I don't think there's an issue with that. I've still got to figure out where there's a gap or gaps in column 9. What about there? If those two, if that's not in, that's also not in. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, bobbins, it's not okay. Sorry, I've been dumb here. Well, I've been slightly dumb. I mean, this isn't the most dumb thing I've ever done, but like, okay, here's this cell. This totally is going to mess up my logic around the 6 column. Because I don't think there's a way that cell can't be green. If that cell is black, how do you make an odd total in row 1? Because any visit now is going to take 2 cells, so it's always going to add up to an even number. This is even, that would be an even visit, that would be an even visit, so you can't get in and out for an odd number of cells, so that's got to be odd. Now, or no, sorry, that's got to be on the loop. And that's obviously affecting this 6 column. Well, yeah, now this can't be on the loop. Now this really can't be on the loop, because if that's on the loop, this is a 1, 2, 3 triple, and we've got 3. That's the only way it could work and add up to 6. That can't be right, because we'd have an odd number of loop cells on the left-hand side of the grid. So this is not on the loop. That's a seriously underwhelming point. Okay. What does that mean? I don't know. I suppose we could label this with low numbers. Is this somehow obvious? I don't... Okay, alright, what we should do, because we can't have 3 separate loop strands, if there is a 3rd loop segment cell in this column, it would have to be connected to one of these 2, wouldn't it? So these two are definitely off the loop. Now, what do we do next? This is probably obvious to everybody else. It's not obvious to me. Well, okay. This might not work, but it might. The 12 clue, I'm going to go back to the logic we thought about ages ago. If that is a corner of the loop, this cell here, how does the 12 clue ever work? Because we'd have to extend these segments, and this segment can't be the only part of its, there's going to have to be a loops cell somewhere around it. So we're going to have at least 5 cells in column 1 again. So that cell is definitely off the loop. Now that is interesting, but I think it's interesting bizarrely in row 7, where I need to put 6 loop segments on the loop, and I now know where they are. And now I've got a corner of the loop here, which is that is huge. That is absolutely huge. And I've got a corner there. Oh no, this is lovely. This is lovely because this being a corner makes that now a new corner. I don't think we can do that as well. In fact, I can do something different. Look at this. Is a brilliant puzzle, by the way, Knickolas. If this was on the loop, we'd have to take it would be a corner, so we'd do this with the loop, and look how many cells on the loop I'd have in column 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The triangle number for 6 is 21. It's more than 19, so that's just not possible. This has to not be on the loop, and therefore the loop goes here. Now, that probably does something. I'm not sure what. But let's go back to the other thought I had, which is this 13 column now. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we had another loop cell in column 7, we'd have at least 5 loop cells. The triangle number for 5 is 15, so if we populated those loop cells with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would exceed this maximum, or this exact total that we're supposed to be coming up with. So all of these are now not on the loop. This is the extension of the loop. That's the extension of the loop. The loop must not loop and make a little loop of itself, so this is all forced. And now, well, okay, here's a weird point, but it must be true. How could this be on the loop? If this is on the loop, I've now spent an odd amount of time in row 6 on the loop. Yet I need an even number overall in the row, and I can't get it, because if I do visit this little coterie of the world, I'm going to take 2 cells, not 1 cell, so the parity would be wrong. So this is off the loop, and the loop must go up. And therefore, this is green. Yeah, that's can't I do the same thing again? If the loop did turn here and did that, again I'm on an odd count for row 5, which I can't correct here, because I'm either going in and turning or that and turning. I'm always taking an even number of these 2 cells. So this is wrong as well. So this is off the loop, and that's all the off the loop cells we can possibly have in this column. So all of those are on the loop, and I'd be surprised if we can't. Yeah, we can finish it because we can't close the loop here. So that's the loop we've drawn. Well, it's not all the loop, but it's most of the loop. It's half the loop. Oh, now look here. If we did that, the loop would close and we'd have 2 loops, and we're not allowed to have 2 loops. That's a concept so ridiculous. It's like a redebiculator. We're not having that. So, oh, well, now this is off the loop for the same reason we looked at last time. We can't have 6 loop cells in this column, so that's off the loop. This is absolutely gorgeous. That's a corner of the loop, so that's that we can draw that. I still don't know how this 6 thing works. Although I think I might do now, because of the odd total in row 4. Imagine this cell's off the loop. How are we ever going to make this odd total work? That would mean we're only taking one of these 2 cells. And obviously if we do that, we're stranding the loop in this area of the grid. And we can't possibly mean to do that. So that's actually got to be, that's now a corner of the loop. And that's surely going to fix this 6 column. We can't take 4 cells in the 6 column. So the loop's doing this. We now know these are the digits 1, 2 and 3 to make them add up to 6. And if we include a 2 in this pair, it's broken because it will be consecutive with 1 or 3. So this is a 2. This is a 1, 3 pair. This is on the loop. This is on the loop. Now, yeah, now it's weird actually, because if we did dip down here, we could turn away and only leave 4 cells of loop in column 1, which would be okay with the 12 clue. Oh, no, it's row 1, isn't it? I've now got 6 cells of loop. That's no good to anyone, because I've got to have an odd total. Right, and in row 2, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm meant to have an odd total, so I've got to do that. This is on the loop, so that's a corner, so we've got to do that. Now, I don't know whether the loop closes. And, oh no, I was going to say I've broken it, but I haven't. Oh, in fact, this is it. That's it. We're finished. We're finished. The reason we're finished is, let me just do some shading. All of these have been proved to be on the loop. I've got 4 loop cells in column 1. I can't have a 5th, or this 12 clue would be inadequate. So both of these are off the loop, which means both of these are off the loop, and we must close the loop. And we've drawn our loop. There we go. We've done it. I'm not saying we've done the puzzle, but we've done the loop. Now, in a 12 clue, I don't know how this is made up exactly, but it's always going to include a 2, because it's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 6 or 1, 2, 4, 5. So the 2 is going to have to go there. One of these is definitely a 1, which makes this square a 3. This square a 1. This is beautiful, because now we can do these 3. This now can't be a 12 series involving a 3. So it has to be 1, 2, 4, 5. Now we can probably do some non-consecutive stuff. I mean, this can't be a 4, 5 pair. That will break. So this is 4 or 5. Now, so these digits now are all whopping great digits, aren't they? And this column is meant to sum to 27. So, oh, and that can't be a 3, because that would make this wrong. So, okay, if this was 6, 8, and that was 7, that would be 21. So this is at most a 6. No, that wouldn't work, because I've just put 6, 7, 8 in there. Oh, okay, hang on, what's going on here? Yeah, this digit is no more than 5, because if it's more than 5, these digits will add up to 30, because there'll be a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. So this digit is no more than 5. It can't be 3, because it would be consecutive with 2, so it's 4 or 5. And these digits either add up to 23, which would make them 6, 8, 9, and this would be a 7, or 22, and if that's a 5, these would be 6, 7, 9, and this would be an 8. So this is 7 or 8, and these digits definitely include 6, and 9. But they... Oh dear. Okay, that's really weird. I thought that would definitely... I thought that would do more, actually. Okay, well, let's have a look at the 19 then, because that's still under quite a lot of pressure. Because this digit's not a tiny old digit, is it? I mean, if that's 9, these digits have to be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if that's actually possible. It might be. It would be incredibly forcing. If that's 7... Oh, no, this is much easier than I'm making it. Look at the... Right. Even if that's 7, these digits are adding up to a maximum of 12. And a 4-cell sequence of Sudoku digits that sums to 12 or less definitely includes 1 and 2. Where are we putting the 2? That's the simple question. It's got to be here by Sudoku. Now where are we putting the 1 that we know must exist, because it's not there and it's not going to be there because that's consecutive with 2. So this is a 1. Okay. So if that's 9, this would be 3, this would be 4. If that's 8, this would be 3, this would be 5. And if that's 7, it depends whether there would be a 3. Could that be a 4-5 pair? And the answer to that is I don't know. Maybe it could be. So, yeah, I'm not sure I can get on board with fully pencil marking this. I think I'll try and avoid it. Let's try and avoid it. Let's double click 2s. Can we do more with 2s? 2 is in one of those 2 cells. Maybe actually people don't like it when I start to use black. If I do that, is that going to be better? Or maybe I'll do it purple. Is that better? 'Cause I just worried people won't see the pencil marks here. I might, or maybe I could use my indigo colour. Is that going to be oh, that's probably going to be worse actually. No, that's probably worse. Or I could even, I mean, it's a ludicrous thought. I could use white, couldn't I? Why don't we use white? There we go. We'll use white. Nobody can complain about that, surely. Alright, these are 2s. It's probably the 13 clue. Oh, hang on. In this column, these 2 digits have to be a 1-2 pair to make the 42 pair. Oh, that's been available forever. Sorry, you've all been shouting me about that, and I deserve to be shouted at. Okay, so this is not a 2 now. Does that help? So I've got quite a lot of 2s and quite a lot of 1s in the grid. Oh, here's a weird point. This column 8 has an even total in the lime cells. Now we know that a column of a Sudoku, a complete column, sums to 45. So that digit's got to be odd, and it can't be 1 or 5. So that's 3, 7, or 9, I'm going to claim. Yeah, that's not it, is it? It's probably this column, because these 4 digits here sum to 13. I know one of them is therefore a 1, because if there wasn't a 1 in this 4-cell series, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sum to 14. Too many. So where's the 1? It's not there by Sudoku. It's not here by Sudoku. Oh, I thought I could place it, but now I can't actually. That's infuriating. Okay. So how does that help us? Does that help us at all? So does the maybe the question is, does the 13 include a 2? Because if it does, I could place the 2 and that would be useful. If it doesn't include a 2, it has to be very specifically 1, 3, 4, 5. And that feels difficult. I mean, this digit would be a 4 or a 5 and make a 4-5 pair in this row. Neither of these could be a 3 because they'd be... oh no, that's not true because these aren't sequential. This couldn't be a 3, but then maybe that one could be. So 3, 1, this would be a 4 or a 5. I don't know, maybe that is possible. Bother. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's the opposite that's not possible. So if I do put 2, the 2 would have to go there. This would be a 1. These two digits would add up to 10. And they would either be 3, 7 or 4, 6. Oh no, that doesn't feel like it's the next step, does it? Golly, okay. How can there possibly be enough information then to finish this off? Am I going mad? I'm probably missing something very fundamental about the loop, the way the loop has to progress. But I'm not seeing where that is immediately. As we just trot over the hour for the video, that's fine. I don't mind. I mean, I think there's quite a lot of logic we're having to uncover here. But the great thing is how exciting it is to figure it all out. No, that's not a good question. Don't ask bad questions. Silly Simon. Okay, so we can... I don't know. I don't know where to look. There's no particular problem with this column, is there? I mean, I know we know I mean, if I was to really go ham on the pencil marking, it would look like that, and that can't be a 3. Is there some... that can't be a 3 because it would be next to 2. Maybe there are sort of hidden pockets of deductions we need to consider. I don't like that very much, though. The weird thing is, and I might be wrong in saying this, I feel like the 13 clue is the most restricted place. Which is weird, because I can't see how to particularly narrow it down. Is it Sudoku? Or this column? I suppose I need 3, 4, 5, 6 into this column. Yeah, okay, let's have a look at that. 3, 4, 5, 6, because this can't be 3 because of the 2 here. Can that be 3? I think it can. That doesn't see, that's not done anything, has it? Oh, although maybe it's... yeah, sorry, maybe it is this 19 clue that we can do better with. It's now got much harder. The only way... no, that was always the case. If this is 9 down here... oh, this can't be 7. It's next to... oh, there you go. That'll be important. because now I think there has to be a 3 in this sequence, doesn't there? Once this isn't 7, and it can't be 7 because it would be next to 6. If this is, yeah, the maximum sum of this is 11, so it does include a 3, and we know where the 3 goes. That's great. Well, it's not great, but it's something. So these aren't 3 anymore. That can't be 4, because it would be consecutive with 3. And we can narrow this down further. That certainly can't be 6 anymore. So that's 4 or 5. So this digit can't be 4. It would be consecutive with this one. Yeah, in fact, 3, that's quite interesting. 3 is definitely in this domino by Sudoku, because I've got a 3 in one of those cells. This can't be 3 because it would be next to 2. And once 3 is in one of these two, 4 can't be in either of them, because it would create a naughty pairing. I mean, it's not done anything, but it was true. Okay, so we actually now know that these two cells add up to 13. I don't think that's going to... There's another very odd noise coming from outside. So can we use this to our advantage somehow? The answer is, I don't know. Probably we can, but we've got to work out why. It's a very weird one, isn't it? Because where do we get the winning from here? Is it? I don't know. Is it the 13 clue again? I don't relish the prospect. You can't put one. Oh, that's vicious. That's beautiful, actually. Where's 1 in row 1? That is a vicious question. And the answer is not here by Sudoku. Not on the naughty dot, because it would be partnered with 2 and it would clash. So not in any of those. Not there by Sudoku. So it's got exactly one place. So this is 1. Right, so that is now a 1-2 pair of all things. And does that matter? It probably, oh yeah, it does. There's a 1 down here. Right, okay, we know the order. This is this is absolutely massive, because now my 13 clue, which I couldn't get any handle on at all, doesn't have a 2 in it. And if it doesn't have a 2 in it, I know what it is. It's 1, 3, 4, 5. And I know that the 1 is down here. And I know that is not a 3. So I've now got a 4-5 pair in this row. So the rest of row 3 is made up of 6, 7s, 8s and 9s. Which is probably important. Okay, and can we... Yeah, this did... No, I was going to do it again. I was going to say this digit can't be 3 or 4 because it's next to that on the loop. It's not. Those are not adjacent cells on the loop. That one can't be. That's 1 or 5. I mean, if that one was 4, it would be consecutive with the digit above it, so it can't be that. So 4 is in one of these two cells. If that was 4, this would have to be 1. If that was... There might be some way of forcing these two to be consecutive and in a bad way. 5, 4, 3, 1 is fine, so that doesn't do it. I'm not sure. Okay, sorry. What about... Oh, I see it. I've got it. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. And it's all caused by this pencil mark here not being able to be an even digit. Because where is 2 in box 9? And the answer is there by Sudoku. because it can't go here and it can't go here by Sudoku. And once it's there, what's this digit? It can't be 1 or 3 because it is consecutive with it, or it is adjacent to it on the loop. So this is 5, this is 4, this is 1, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5 by Sudoku. This is not 4. Now, please do more than that. I mean, it must do more than that. I've just got to figure it out. The whole of this column is now 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s. So this digit can't be a 3 because it wouldn't be consecutive. So 3 in this box is now in one of, it could be in the corner. And 3 in this box is in one of those 2 cells. I think it could be here. I don't think that's ruled out. 1. Where's 1 in box 7? It's by Sudoku. There are 4 1s looking at that cell. So this is definitely a 2. How many 2s have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got all the 2s. I've probably got all the. I've got all the 1s. Okay, so we can't do any more with those digits. They are fully utilized. Right. What do you think we do next then? I don't know. Can we do... That can't be a 6 because it would be next to... Yeah, I mean, that's worth noting for a silly reason. I think it's... Oh, hang on, one of these is a 6 now. So that's not 6. So where's 5 in this box? Sorry, I got distracted from what I was going to do over here. I will come back to that. But where's 5 in this box now? It can't be on the white dot because this can't be 6. It's not able to be here. So there's a 3-5 pair up in this corner, I think. And that's fine because they are far enough apart in terms of not being consecutive with one another. This digit is now not 6, not 3, 5, not 1, 2, 4. So this is 7, 8, 9, and this is a white dot. Now a consecutive pair of digits must include an even number. And we now know the even number on here is the digit 8. So these digits don't include 8. These 2 cells don't include 8. And yeah, this cell can't be an 8. Because it will then be consecutive with a 7 or 9 beneath it. That was the original point I'd seen over here. Oh, that nasty noise has now stopped, which is good. Oh no, now it's back. I shouldn't have said that. Now it's back again. If that was 6, that would have to be 3. And that would have to be 5. That would have to be 4. Oh, that doesn't work. That's weird though. Hang on. There was a weird point there. So I said if that's 3. I mean, that's very hard to see. That's probably, bizarrely, in a puzzle this complicated, that's actually the hardest logic we've had. If this was 3, this would be 3 by Sudoku in box 2. And then this would be 5. But if this is 3, this is definitely 5, so we get 2 5s in the first row. That's weird, isn't it? This is good, though, because what it is going to do is it's going to mean that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. We get a 3 in the corner, we get a 5 here, we get a 6 here. So this is not a 6 anymore. This is not a 6 anymore. So I now know where 6 goes in box 1. I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in the top row, look. So this digit is a 4 or a 5. This digit is 7, 8 or 9. And one of these is a 9. Is that true? No, that can't be true, because if I know one of those is a 9, I know this can't be 8. Oh, this has been available forever. Why did I think this? Oh, that's got to be right, because whatever this is, to make this add up to 27, I definitely need a 9 in this domino. So this can't be 8. There's just no way. This is a 7-9 pair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I lost my army there. Very bad misclick. That's an 8 then. So now these do add up to 22. So this has got to be 5 to get us to the correct total. Oh, how does that not do anything in the row? That's extraordinary. 5 is in that domino. That might do something, because the 5 being in this domino stops this domino having 4 or 6 in it. So that tells us that 4 is in one of those cells. I don't know if this matters, but it's sort of quite interesting, isn't it? Oh, dear, dear, dear. Oh, that was so exciting for a moment. It didn't work at all. Right, this is 8, so this is not 8 anymore. There's a 7-9 pair here, so this is 8. So this is not 8, and this is not 8. I've got a 7-9 pair here, so that is a 4. So this is a 5. That's a 4. That's a 5. I'm not sure how much this is going to... Oh, 5 here means this can't be 6, obviously. So this is 6, according to our pencil marking. Right, now what does that do? The answer, my friend, might be blowing in the wind. I don't know. That digit can't be an 8. 3 is down here. Does that matter? I don't know. I'm going to pencil mark this cell. That's got to be 6, 7, 8 or 9. And I know that because it can't be 4 according to this pencil mark. In fact, all of this is, yeah, all of this box to finish it. And that's 7 or 9. So that's the same digit as this. These two are the same. So these digits definitely include 6, and they definitely include 8. That might matter. He says, desperately trying to work out why. These two digits, is there some way I'm meant to know what they are? Okay, let's do a quick audit. Have we used all of... No, I have not used this clue. I need a 9 to make that work, so that's a silliness that I hadn't appreciated. I don't think that's going to do it though, is it? We hardly know anything about... I mean, look at this portion of the grid. There's just nothing to know down here. Oh, although those digits are 3, 8. They're 3, 4 and 8, aren't they? I mean, we can't do any consecutive games with them, but we can say that's not 4 or 3. So that, okay, that's 8. I just didn't realise. Now I've got a 3, 4 pair in the bottom row, so that can't be a 3. So this is a 3. I think that's not going to do anything. What about 4? Is that somehow... Yeah, 4 in box 9. This is good. This is really good. It's a lovely point, because 4 has to be here, and now that's not 4, which means this is 4. We can't put 4 next to 5, so this can't be 5. Whoops. This is 5. Oh, which I could have got from Sudoku ages ago. Didn't see. These are 6, 7, 8, 9. That's not 6. This can't be 8 because it would be next to 7 or 9 on the jiggery pokery. Column 8, we just need 7s, 8s and 9s, which is disappointing because, I mean, there's nothing interesting about this domino, is there? What about... No, what I was about to say is such obvious nonsense. We're going to refrain from saying it. One of those is an 8, but these aren't on the loop, you see, so I don't think we can use it. This can't be an 8, because of the 8 we earned over here. So these cells are 6, 7 and 9. And that one can't be 9 because it would have 8 beneath it on the dot. So that is 6 or 7. And this digit is 7. Can't be 6 or it can't be 5 actually. Look at this dot here. I mean, I wasn't even beginning to consider looking at this, but it is important. From the row, this is 6, 7 or 9. From the dot, I think this has to be 7. It can't be 5, 6 or 8. And it has got to be sequential with a 6 or a 7. So that's 7, that's 6. So this isn't 6, this isn't 6. That's a 7, 9 pair. So these two are now 6, whoopsie, whoopsie. These are a 6, 8 pair. Now 6, 8 on this white dot means this is definitely odd. Now, how does that play out in Peoria? I don't know. 4, 5, 9, 5 in column 3. We can write it in. So these are a 4, 9 pair. And presumably there's some way that we're meant to know which way round this goes. Or, now one of those is definitely a 4 by Sudoku, but it doesn't seem to resolve anything. If that was 8, this would have to be 4, this would have to be 3. And this would have to be 6, but it... Oh no, hang on. Wait. That doesn't work. Oh, that's a very straightforward question. I should have asked this already. Where's 6 in row 5? It can't be here. It doesn't seem to be able to be those two. I don't know why that's true. Yeah, it's the dot, isn't it? And this 6 interacting. So the only place for 6 is here. That's a big digit, you know, because it's going to fix this as a 7. Well, when I say it's a big digit, it's actually not done anything. Although it gets it right, it does place 8, look, which means this is 8. I've got all these 7s and 9s everywhere. I might have to colour them. I am aware that that is a possibility. This is 6, 9. This 4, is it something to do with consecutive thingies on the loop? That's a 6, 9 pair, so that is 7. So this is 9, this is 7. This is 9, so this is 7, this is 9, this is 7, this is 9, this is 9, this is 6, this is 6, this is 9. Please work. Please work. And this is 3 or 9 by Sudoku. And okay, maybe these digits are going to reveal everything. We need 4, 7. Oh yeah, well that's very nice. Because 4, 7 and 8, but you can't put the 7 or the 8 next to the other one. So we need a chaperone. So we can get the 4. It's got to play gooseberry and sit between the canoodling 7 and 8. Now that 4 means this is 9. So that's 4. That's 3. That whoopsie. 3, 4, 9. Now this digit, where's 7 in row 8? It's got to be here. That does a few more digits. Let's check. Oh, actually I could have done the corner by looking at the 9 here. I didn't see that. 4 in row 7 has to be here, which unwinds the last little piece of this. That's a 6 in the corner. And I haven't put 3 into this box. And I haven't put 8 into this box. And I haven't put 9 and 7 into box 1. And that must... I mean, it's one of these puzzles where if it feels like it's worked, it's impossible to believe. It's possible to believe I've made a Sudoku mistake, but it's really quite unlikely because the logic's so beautiful throughout. Let's see. Yes. Oh my goodness, hardly anyone solved it. I have now. I have, and it was fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Distant neighbours. What's that? Is that trying to say that because the consecutive digits are further apart than they might normally be, they're sort of unfriendly neighbours? Knickolas, you are a very, very gifted constructor. I loved that. I loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.